So if you've been following along, you know for the last 4 days, I've been with my daughter pretty much the whole day and integrated her into my work life, and I integrated into her life during the summer. And what I want to do a little bit later on, I'm actually headed to the gym right now, is just share one big takeaway that I got from that whole experience that I want to incorporate more just in general, because I learned so much from it. And I'll share that with you a little bit later. But it feels good to be back to my regular schedule. One of the things that I did do is I took some time. I took those 4 days to retool my fitness program, because one of the things I remember talking to you about was the fact that I was plateauing. So what I did was I spent some time doing some research, finding new systems, workout systems that I can incorporate, or just take the ones that I'm doing now to the next level, and pushing myself to that next level, because like I said, I was plateauing. So I feel good about the new program that I'm going to be installing. It's not going to be that much different than what I was doing, but it's going to be the way I'm combining the exercises is going to be a little bit different, and the intensity of those exercises going to be a little bit different. So I feel good about that. So I'll be there in a little bit. Stay tuned. I told you I was going to tell you the biggest takeaway. It's actually a two-part takeaway that I got with spending time with my daughter and integrating her into my work life, which was a challenge. So the takeaway, this is takeaway 1A. Takeaway 1A is I incorporated fun. Like, so for instance, we were doing things like riding remote control cars, going to the museum and drawing and coloring. And I would not normally do that on a normal work day. I'm just gonna work, grind it all the way out. But what I found was when I was incorporating that type of fun, when I got back to the work, I was such more clear, and I was more focused than I was had I would have just continued just to grind through. So I'm gonna look for ways to do that. I might even bring my remote control car down, because even when I was driving it in the office, it was relaxing. It was soothing. It took my mind off of work. Also, we walked a lot more. Just getting out of the office and walking. Sometimes I don't do that. I'll just stay in the office. So that was 1A. Trying to figure out ways to incorporate like those fun pauses during the day. The other thing I got was, this is 1B, takeaway 1B, is the fact that I was way more efficient with my work, meaning that there's a law called the Parkinson's law, that time expands if you think you have more time to do things. So in your mind, it almost creates an illusion like, oh, I'll get to it. But having my daughter there, I knew that I only had a certain amount of time to do what I needed to do before she was ready to, do what she wanted to do, to make sure that she was having, a good time as well. So I found myself being way more efficient because I knew my time was limited. And just like I remember being in college, I would always wait to the last minute to study for the test that I needed to take, but I would always do good on it because I didn't need all that time. I just needed that short window that I knew that I was going to absorb everything and kind of bring everything together. So those are the takeaways that I got from it. So I'm going to look for ways to create more fun, play within the course of the days. And then the other piece I want to take away is trying to set up these artificial things that make me feel as if I only have a certain amount of time. So creating an artificial urgency that gives me the feeling like, I got to get this done. I have to be efficient with the time. Because if I don't do that, you know how it goes. You're on YouTube or Twitter and you just go down these rabbit holes in the middle of your workday. An hour goes by because you feel you have enough time to get everything done. So that's the big takeaway. I want to hear from you in the comments. Does that make sense? Does that resonate? What are your thoughts about it? Crushed that workout. I really did. What I did different was I just I added the timer. So what I did was I did 5 minutes of foam rolling, and then I did 20 minutes of mobility training, which I was already doing. But what I did different was I stacked on top of that like a strength hit kettlebell routine, which I would normally do on the separate days. So what I did was I just stacked these things on top of one another, which I would usually spread out, and I just put the timer on, which kept me 45 minutes, I was done. So that was really the difference. I just rearranged the energy and the intensity around the workouts I was doing, added a few things, but other than that, I crushed it. I feel good about it. We have a pretty busy day today. I spent some time, I was at Starbucks for a little bit, getting my schedule together. But it seems like we're on this track where we're either opening up new relationships or ending relationships. We're in that season, so I'll just put my schedule together here, and just so you can see. So the main thing, I have to finalize the client. That client did say that they wanted to get some more work, so I have to set that up. We had some legal challenges that we had to go through. That's with a little bit of a delay, but that's all good. And then, as you know, I was doing a 6-week accelerator, so we're on this 6 weeks. So now I'm just thinking about how to transition into the next phase of the accelerator. We covered a lot of ground. I think there was more we could have done. There's more we could have done with it. So I'll keep you up to date on like how we're going to transition to the next phase of the relationship with Studio IX. And then ultimately, like I was telling you before, I'm building the infrastructure behind not only the vlog, but the main company, which is TFX. So stay tuned. Got a lot on the plate today, as you see. Got a lot on the plate today, so gonna knock it out and keep it moving. I cannot overstate this enough. When you're navigating through choppy waters, the main thing you got to get is clarity. Like, you have to get clarity. You have to get visibility into your numbers. You have to get visibility into the things that that all the inputs that are needed to get the outcome that you want, you're going for. So that's like right now, like I'm navigating through some very, very choppy waters right now. And I just want to just remind you, as I'm reminding myself, this is the time for clarity. So I'm here, I'm writing down, making sure I know the numbers, and just making sure I make it through this tough part of the journey. This is the part of the journey that they don't tell you about when you're in this entrepreneurial world. It's the times that it's chopped, and it's emotionally. It's also very emotionally charged. So you have to be. How can I explain it? You have to have this calm temperament throughout the whole process, and it's not easy. And I'm saying this because I just went through it. Got a phone call that kind of like disturbed my peace for a little bit. It wasn't a phone call. It was an email that I got, some documentation that I got. And I think I've mentioned this before with the IRS situation. I talked about this a few episodes ago, but I got an email back from them that I didn't like. And now I'm like, navigating through this and just trying to maintain my peace as I'm going through it. This is not my preference. It's not my preference on the way it went, but you just have to deal with it as it is. So stay tuned. Let one step at a time. You're here with me, so I know that you are watching this and you're seeing me go through this. But when I get to the other side, it's all going to make sense. So just got a message from the team out in Africa, and it looks like we may have an acquisition almost finalized by next week. So I'm actually going back and forth with him right now to see kind of like what the terms of the deal was, when they're looking to start, what are the post-acquisition activities that need to take place. So, yep, It's very interesting how all this all happened today, but just getting everything sorted out and rewiring some things with my business model as well. So let's see what happens. I'll keep you updated. Today I got 2 bombs dropped on me. One in the afternoon and one like in the evening, and trying to navigate through it, because it looks like, from the surface, from the appearance, it looks like things are falling apart. But the deals that were, one was a deal, one was a actual other situation. But anyway, it was 2 bombs dropped, all while trying to navigate through building what I was showing you before, the different infrastructures. And it's in these times where, you really got to dig deep. You really got to dig deep. This is where your character is being tested. And more specifically is when you declare, and I did, when you declare a goal, and just to remind you, and when you declare a goal, whether you speak it out or you think about it and you're committed to that outcome, that resistance comes. And to have 2 bombs dropped on me in one day, that's how I know I'm on the right track. That's how I know I'm on the right track. That's how I know that I need to double down on the infrastructures that I'm building, and I'm about 60% of it done before I can really take it to market in any meaningful way. So that was today. It really, was really eye-opening and took me by surprise, because I was prepared, but I wasn't prepared, only because I had to stop doing my, I had to reprioritize today. So I changed things around with my schedule to handle these things, because they were like almost code red situations. Well, one was code red, one was code yellow. That had to make sure everything was in place. I feel a little bit better. If you would have saw me about a couple hours ago, I was definitely really frantic about everything happening. But you just gotta believe. You gotta believe that life sees the whole picture. You gotta believe that you're only seeing a little piece of what's going. And just a reminder to myself, I know there is an emerging future that's happening even in the midst of this. And I just have to trust. I just got to trust that it's working its way out. And I'm sharing this with you in real time because you may be going through it as well. Or you may not be going through it now, but you're going to need to go back and listen to this message when you do go through it, because it's all in cycles. This all happens in cycles. This all happens in cycles. So, with that said, gotta keep pushing. Gotta keep pushing through. All right, so I am calling it a night. And if there's anything in this video that resonated with you, please let me know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. With that said, I'm out. Peace.